All right, we're good.
All right, welcome into the D&KP podcast, first ever. Welcome.
Woo!
Yeah.
Episode number one of hopefully many.
Yes. So,
Um,
uh, so go ahead, introduce yourself. This is Dean. Oh, you're Dean. I'm Justin.
I'm Justin, your dean. Hello, welcome to. Oh wait, no, I'm
We're
just kidding.
confusing. Yeah.
um, yeah, this is our first podcast. We're a little nervous, I think, even though we've had maybe 10,000 hours of conversation between the two of us over a decade, and
Yeah.
for some reason we can't talk.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm Dean. I live in Las Vegas. I used to live in Michigan, near Korp.
Yeah. I'm Korp or Justin. Michigan, born and raised. Living in the murder mitten.
Woohoo!
Uh,
So we're from the Midwest, and we're cold and bitter people.
yeah. It's actually the coldest today. It's super cold. Yesterday was crazy too.
Dude, I don't miss that shit at all. I
Yeah, it was bad. It was like so cold. Yeah, I stepped outside real quick and I was like, nope, coming right back in. Not doing it.
My dad was doing that video where he takes like the hot water outside and like throws it in the air to make like snow or whatever. You know what I'm
Oh
talking about?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's that cold out right now.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that some people haven't seen snow.
Dude, you find that in Vegas all the time, man. I talk to so many people like I've never seen the snowfall before. And like the crazy shit is we have Mount Charleston like 50 minutes away, not even, and there's snow up there all the time, and they'll still never go see it.
It's also crazy to be a kid in the snow and it's like you don't feel the cold. It's so awesome. And then you reach like an adult stage and it's like this is terrible.
The first time I saw snow, I was 16. When we moved to Detroit from Southern California. There was like it was in like third period, and it started snowing in the middle of class. And I got up in the middle of class and walked to the window, like in the middle of the teacher lecturing, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's snowing!" And everyone looked at me like I was a fucking idiot. Like, like what the hell? Like this kid's never seen snow before, and I didn't. I never seen snow fall until I was like 16 years old. So I understand, but you get 1 year of it. After that, fuck snow. Like you don't need it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it was like awesome growing up. We have a church that they like plow it all into one giant pile and we would just play and build forts. And then once you're not throwing snowballs at people, it's really not worth being out there.
Yeah, my favorite joke I make to like a lot of my tables and stuff at work is like, they're like, "Oh, why'd you move out to Vegas?" I'm like, "Cause you can't shovel sunshine. That's why I moved to Vegas."
Clever. I like that.
Yeah, like, dude, I fucking hate that shit. Not that I ever shoveled snow really, except for when I lived with my parents. Most apartments are lucky enough to take care of that shit for you, but
I hate the welcome mat. And like
uh,
you're going to shovel and you like clip the welcome mat. It's like, oh, get out of my way. Why is this here?
I just hate I think what I hated most is the layering. Like, I need thermal. Like, if for a cold day, like, you're on your way to work and you got to put on like 5 layers just to sit in your car, and then you get to work and you got to like shed off your fucking
Yeah.
skin, and like and you're never truly warm or comfortable.
Oh yeah. Especially like being a smoker and having to go outside to smoke. It's just
Uh-huh.
like,
God, do you like it? Sometimes when we used to go out and smoke, it wasn't even worth it. I felt like you just shaking violently,
yeah,
trying to absorb nicotine into your system. It's dead inside the restaurant. There's like 4 guests who decided to brave the storm
yeah.
to come eat.
They just happen to be out and about already for whatever.
Yeah,
And
they went shopping and they're like, "Oh, let's go be miserable inside a fucking restaurant instead of being miserable at home."
yeah, yeah. The restaurant life, man, it is a different breed.
I
It's
always say, I always say
uh,
we take all kinds in the restaurant industry.
yeah,
Like degenerates, and I've met some of the smartest people who have degrees and like who've applied themselves to like academically, at least in like that American form of like success, and they still just end up waiting tables. Man, it's crazy who you just meet. you know
uh, especially you get into the right restaurant and the right business and right area that fits your lifestyle. Like it's hard to get out of. It's
I,
a,
yeah.
I don't want to say it's a trap because it's not. What you want me to go work for $10 an hour at McDonald's being the manager, or I can go work half the hours, make more money,
Yeah.
and and be less stressed. I'm not responsible for anybody but me and my 2 or 3 tables.
It's in some like respect, I like equate it to like one of the last like hustles for like what is like making your own sort of like American dream happen, because you can make the money so quick without an education, and you can't bring the work home with you. Like it's not like your tables can't follow you home. You know, like some people, they like, I got buddies who like they work office jobs and then they come home and they're working on their office job at home, and I can't do that with work, no matter how hard I tried, which I think is kind of like a brilliant thing about the restaurant industry. One of my favorite parts about it has always been that you
But
can't.
you do say you can't bring the homework with you, but there are so many times that we go to the bar after work, and for the
Yeah.
first hour of being there, it's nothing but like, oh, let me tell you
Uh,
what happened to this table and
oh,
this.
this fucking table all night, and
Oh,
this fucking table, and these guys fucking fucked me over, and yeah,
yeah.
you're right. We always
It,
find a
it took us like a year or so of hanging out after work to break that mold. Like, okay, man, why are we talking about Bahama Breeze?
yeah, we would literally have to spend time talking about how we shouldn't talk about work.
Yeah.
Or like one of those things, like when we go out to the bar, like I always, who there was always somebody who hated talking about. Maybe it was Dave. Dave never really liked talking too much about work stuff after work.
Well, I
And
mean, like, yeah, I just think there's a point you get it off your chest and let's move on. Like,
yeah, yeah,
dwelling on somebody being a dick to you from hours ago that gave you, 15% or 10% or nothing isn't going to change anything. That's what you got. You got paid. You're gone.
do you,
Dwelling on it.
do you remember your worst tables, or like you know what I mean on the spectrum? We've probably, I mean, you can't even begin to count the amount of people we've waited on. But I don't. I always say like, I'll fucking remember you, you piece of shit. Like you were the worst table I've ever had. But then like a week later, I'm like, who? You
Yeah,
know,
it would
like
have to be really something specific for me to like, because drawing a blank right now is crazy. That like I can't remember my worst table. I don't know. It's
so it
but
really goes to show like how much it really doesn't mean. Like we get so frustrated. I've had times where like you've wanted to just break a menu over someone's head, and you just now it's like it doesn't mean anything. I think that's a really interesting thing
well,
about what we do.
yeah, and then like on top of that, like I remember being so angry at nothing. I'm like,
Yeah.
why am I acting like this?
Mhm.
And now I'm like, if I were to, I'm like, I'm not gonna get that mad about anything. Like I have actual life problems now, and it's like, yeah, this isn't the place to act like a child. Like
Right? Like of all
I,
the
well, it's like some of the people that do that now. I'm looking and I'm like, man, you're older than me. You're a grown man. You have like 7 kids. Why are you yelling at people?
people
Like,
get so mad at their tables, man. People get so mad at the people they're making money off of. I think that's always like my funny thing, because I've really let a lot of that go. Like I don't get mad at my tables anymore. I don't get mad at bad diners. I don't get mad at foreigners. After going to Europe and like seeing how Europeans dine versus how Americans dine, like what etiquette there is. And like when they come over to the States, like, oh man, you'd be so pissed. Like, oh, I got these fucking French guys or these English guys or, these Spanish people. Um, and they're not going to tip me. And that's like the immediate first thing you think, right? Is like, I'm not going to make any money. And I don't know how prevalent that is back home, because I can't remember how many foreign tables we get back in.
it's not many.
Right. And now I work in Vegas, and every other one of my tables is like English as a second language. I get so many foreigners, and I just deal with it all the time. people
Yeah,
people not tipping on $200 checks, people not tipping on like anything, because that's just what it is. And that shit used to fucking make me so mad. I used to get like so insanely mad, and I guess I just don't anymore.
I mean, it's just not worth it. Getting mad. We had this joke at the other job I had, the data entry job, and we had a joke where like, oh man, I'm glad I got mad because it really solved that problem. Because people would get mad and like, what do you think? It's not helping. You got so angry that you told this guy to go home, or this. You're not solving the issue. You're putting a
Yeah,
band-aid over a bullet wound, and that doesn't solve anything. You just got angry, and it's like, oh, no one's ever said that. Hey, good
yeah.
thing I got angry because that problem wouldn't have got solved without it.
Well, I mean, then now you're talking about tilt, like real life tilt versus like, obviously we use tilt for video games, and like, you're tilting in League, or you're tilting in, Fortnite or whatever game you're playing. And then, it's so easy sometimes to say like, oh, don't tilt in a video game because you're not accomplishing anything. But I think we should apply that to real life more.
Oh, that's for sure.
You know.
Brianna, she makes me tilt constantly. Where I'm like,
Yeah.
why am I acting so out of character when we are having a phone conversation?
It's
Going
crazy.
into it, I'll have like a good mindset, like, okay, I'm gonna, let's be good today. Let's have a good day. And then 30 seconds into that call, we're like hanging up on each other or like something
Tilted.
silly. Yeah,
Instantly tilted.
we're just tilted.
There's just topics that like Britt and I have. The second they come up, it just instantly will change. Like I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know when we both get frustrated, I just try to like. I know walking away always sounds like a bad gig, but sometimes just recollecting your thoughts on a subject can really help avoid the tilt.
Yeah, I think a lot of it for me is when we're driving in a car together and there's no place to go. We're stuck in the car for 20 minutes to an hour, and
Rough.
I'm not the driver, so I have no no say in the radio, the speed, or anything. I don't like. I've now gotten way better. I'm not a backseat driver to her at all, but
Oh, dude, how do you do it?
she stops on yellows all the time.
I just like it's not that I do you find yourself what I do is I'm always holding the oh shit handle above me on my right hand side when she's driving, and I always have my foot on my imaginary brake, and literally sometimes I'm like sitting there and I'm like slamming my foot down. I'm like, dude, why are we
Yeah,
tailgating this guy? Like there's
yeah.
there's three cars in traffic and you're literally 4 feet away from the guy in front of us. I
Um,
don't understand why.
yeah, because I lift an Uber a lot. Um, I sit in the back seat and put my headphones in. I wish there was a button to be like quiet mode. Please, drivers, don't talk to me.
Oh man, That
Like
that that should be an Uber function. You should be able to pop up and say, "Do you want your Uber driver to talk to you or not?" Because
some
I
of,
would,
some of them get it where like I got my headphone in. They're
yeah,
like, "Hello," I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to work. I'm going here. It's early or late." Like for some people, I was working overnights. I'm going into work at 3 in the afternoon.
yeah,
They're wide awake. I'm like,
yeah,
shh.
they're ready to talk.
Like I just woke up. I'm going to this crappy job where I don't have to be awake, so I'm going to be going in super tired. And
I think I think a shitty part about it is like for so many years I'm so used to greeting people of like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I think that's the fucking mistake I make. I should just say, "Hey," and not ask them how they're doing, because you open that question, it's just opened a whole line of answers that they can reply with
well,
that give
started a
them the lead.
conversation. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. I don't mean to. Like I think that like with an Uber driver, it's a fucking dice roll. I'll take an
I,
Uber down. I'll take an Uber down to the strip, and if you catch the right guy and like, oh, you going to work, and I'm like, yeah, and they're like, I used to work on the strip, man, for like 10 years. I was at the MGM, and then blah, blah, and you're all of a sudden you're fully enthralled in this conversation about this dude's life in the restaurant industry on the strip, and I'm like, dude, man, if I didn't say, hey, how are you doing, I wouldn't be here right now.
yep. So I mean I usually listen to it's weird. I always listen to my headphones in my right ear,
Okay.
but when I sit in the car, because I'll sit in the passenger side, so I'm in the right, I put it in the left one just so they see that it's there.
This ear is don't talk to this side of me. I don't want to fucking.
It makes it really bad because I got like I'm going deaf in my right ear, and so when I have it in my left and my right ear I can't hear. Yeah, I'm just saying yeah, just because I'll be agreeable.
Oh man, I'm a big fucking. I don't know what am I trying to say. I'm really bad at just nodding along in conversation sometimes, especially when people like Uber drivers or like my tables. You ever get that table in the middle of the rush who just wants to like talk to you about your whole life and everything going on with it, and you're like,
Yeah,
dude, like I got shit to do right now. Like I
like
can't.
I'm weeded and
So you're just saying like, yeah, oh man, yeah, woo, like crazy time. But they could have just said like, oh yeah, you fuck your mother, huh? And you're like, yeah, oh yeah, for sure, man. Oh, that's great. Like I just remember being there last year, and you're like not paying attention. I do that. I'm really bad at that. Sometimes I just nod along a conversation, and I'll just agree. And I think,
for the most part I'm too self-aware to just do that.
oh
Where
man,
like I'm almost overly self-aware where like I have to like shut myself down in order to not like let myself get like the anxiety and all that stuff. So I've learned how to deal with it and adapt it. But like I'm so self-aware that like if we're having a conversation, even if I'm not paying attention, like I overhear other people's conversation, like you used to bartend and I just jump into yours and your guest conversation. I'm like so alert about what's around me.
I think that has become the Vegas in me though, really, because I just like don't don't care anymore, I think, about nearly as much. I used to really be into it, and I think it's just, what has really changed is like in Michigan, one thing we were taught is, build regulars. You want people to come back and see you. You want that return business that, if somebody, comes to the restaurant 3 times a month, and even if they leave a $5 tip, that's $15 in your pocket a month times by like 100 people. If you can get 100 regulars, now you're making money.
Yeah. Oh, regulars are huge. It's just it doesn't work for a server where I work because
No, absolutely not.
I
The
can't
only
even they can't even sit my parents in my section. So like
Yeah, I think the only server I ever knew who had regulars was Dave. He
yeah,
was
but
the only
but a lot of those regulars were bar
bar
regulars
bar,
that
bar regulars, absolutely. So it didn't even count,
yeah.
really.
I
They just
mean,
transitioned over because they still wanted him to make their mojitos and shit like that.
now I know I've been a part of creating regulars, but I tell them, because of how they do the scheduling and your location on the floor, that it's easier to be part of go to the bar every time.
Yeah.
I can't remember the couple's name, but you know who I'm talking about. They the older couple, he gets the wings, she gets, they get the
Oh
same
yeah,
thing every
Sam
time.
and Kathy. Sam
Yeah.
passed away.
Did he really?
Yeah, he passed
I did
away about 2 years ago.
I didn't know that, man.
Yeah, it was a big bummer. He was a
Yeah.
good dude. They came in. I could still tell you their order right now, man. Like,
Yeah.
lobster quesadillas. She never wanted the seasoned sour cream, so she got double pico. Sam was well done. Fucking habanero wings with extra barbecue sauce on the side. He'll drink like 4 Labatt Blues, and then she'd have, oh, what was her drink? She was either like a mojito or a rum runner gal. Maybe not even that. But yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I remember waiting on them as like a server on the dining floor, and then after
Yeah,
talking to them, they wanted the same server every time, and I was like, it's not that I don't want to serve you every time, but I can't take.
they would always sit at table 2, like bar table 2 outside, like right
Yeah,
next.
that's where I ended up converting them to go, and I think you
Yeah.
started taking them over first. You were Kelly.
Yeah, it was me and Kelly Ryan, and then Kristen ended up doing it for
Yeah,
a hot
because
minute.
I originally was taking care of them. They would come in and see me as a server, and I was like, they would get upset if they can't sit in my section or were rotating and I wasn't their server. They just wanted the consistency.
And I think, and that's something that like I really miss about the industry, back in the Midwest, like for restaurants. But you come out to Vegas, man, and you start working on the strip, and like you start to it starts to melt away your hospitality, because even though we're in the hospitality industry out here, we see so many guests. So like last year, 45 million came to Las Vegas. It's 44 or 45. You can even Google it. 45 or 44 million people visited Las Vegas last year. That's an insane amount of people. And when you know that metric, you know that like if you treat a guest like shit or if you treat a guest really good, it doesn't matter because you're never going to see them again.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you what kind of like power that breeds in like the restaurant mentality out here, and why it gets so smug, and why people think, you know, they're so much better than their guests out here. And I understand it now, because it just rubs off on you. Like it takes away from your hospitality. And I'll talk to people who are servers from the Midwest or from the South, and they all like started off coming here very hopeful and like, oh, the restaurant industry out here is, the best. It's where, everybody comes together and they do this and that. And we're supposed to have a higher standard, but I actually find that the standard of service here is lower than, the 2 places I've worked were Detroit and Tampa, which, Tampa is where all the Midwesterners go in the fucking summertime, in the wintertime. So it might as well be the Midwest. And people are so sweet, but then you come out here to Vegas and everyone's so jaded. And I think that's a big bummer.
Well, and if I lived my life between cocaine and
God,
alcohol, I would be an asshole most of the day until
this
I
is
got back to my drinking cocaine.
this is fucking sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man. That's what this
Yeah.
city is.
I mean, the old people that are drunk every day that are angry old people, if I was hungover every day, I would be an angry person.
Yeah, man.
It's
I mean,
miserable.
drinking is culture out here. It's almost hard to ask people to hang out and not either do it in a restaurant setting or do it in a bar setting. And gambling is in both of those settings, except for like, I bet if you're eating at a nice restaurant in Las Vegas, there's a casino floor within a 30-second walk.
I enjoy drinking. I enjoy gambling. They are one thing that I should never do together.
Woof.
It
Yeah.
gets out of control fast. I start trusting instincts I didn't know I had, and
Yeah,
money will be won and lost. That's for sure.
when I first met you, you were big into gambling.
Yeah,
What's
I
the
mean,
thing for you?
sports betting, fantasy football, and then the casino itself, whether it's poker, or roulette, or the other table games. It's
You got
it's
you taught me roulette, and I think that was a downhill spiral for
it's
coming
a
to Vegas for because when I first moved to Vegas, I don't know why I said this to myself, but I was like, you know what, I live in Vegas, I'm gonna learn to play every table game, and that was because I had known how to play roulette, but I didn't know how to play craps or like blackjack really is like a table and like hold'em, baccarat, and like all of these little like table game you see them sitting everywhere and like these people just like pie gow like stuff like that, man, they go nuts for that shit, and I learned how to play all of them, and it cost me a lot of money.
I was gonna say, how much did it cost you?
Oh,
'Cause
jeez, man.
so
I got bad into craps for a hot minute, man. Some old black dude in Red Rock Casino taught me how to play craps, and I was just fucking hooked, man. And I won a boatload of money, maybe like 5 G's in like a week from just playing craps. And I had only started with like $200.
yeah,
And
I mean, that's how they get you.
then like yeah, in a month, dude, I was down like 4 grand. And
Yeah,
and just chasing that high, dude. Chasing highs.
there's
And
a reason the casinos are very large and tall and able to have the events they have because they will win.
they have mastered the manipulation of the human spirit like
Well,
so
no,
epically.
no clocks in that bitch.
No, it's
Oh,
God.
gamblers like to smoke cigarettes? Go right ahead. Only place in America you can smoke indoors.
Oh my God, it's insane, man. And like, working in the casino didn't help too. So like I had just started in Vegas. I was fresh. I didn't know anybody. Britt worked over at the link and she she would work till like 2 in the morning. I started working at the Venetian and I would work until, like when we first started closing Sugarcane because, restaurant brand new, we're still getting a lot of stuff in order. We get out at like 2, 3 in the morning. And I'm just hanging out with these other degenerates from Las Vegas who are already used to the culture. So they like, what do we do? They're like, oh, let's go to cocktail bars and let's go drink and like get to know other bartenders. And so every night, 5 nights a week, dude, for like maybe the first 6 months in Vegas, I spent going out on the town, man, coming home at like 5, 6 in the morning. And, all I did was like, smoke cigarettes and, or made me smoke a couple cigarettes and drink beer and drink cocktails and then go gamble. And then like I just find myself gambling on a casino floor by myself, trying to chase the high. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with the city?
When it does come to gambling on a casino, though, I prefer to gamble alone. It's hard to gamble with someone else's money or somebody else with you because then you're both jointly wanting to do certain things. And I mean,
Yeah.
you've seen the way I play roulette, where I play like almost all the tables at once and bounce around. That's something that I think you can do with somebody else. But if I was like gonna spend $500 on table games, and me and you both were gonna go, we would eventually be at separate tables.
Yeah, yeah. You can't. It's hard to make those decisions because you end up wanting to bet with your friends or like your friend. You like you'll encourage your friend or like not
Yeah,
encourage, but like you maybe subliminally like
yeah. Like, oh
I'm
well, I
well.
just put $100 down on red, and you're like,
So
you think that's strong? And then you
you're
put it
right.
down.
Yeah, right. You're like because you're putting $100 on red because you're trying to make 200, and you feel red is good, but then your buddy sees you do it, and he's like, "Well, fuck, this guy's got a good feeling. I got to back that up." Because he doesn't want to put 100 on black now because that's a dick move. You don't do that to your buddies. Like you don't
Yeah,
bet. I hate when I'm at a roulette table, man. For some reason, I feel like that is the worst form of etiquette. I don't know why, but like if you put a bunch of money on red, or like even on like one of the thirds, if you're just betting the outside, and somebody just walks up right when the ball's spinning and they just throw it on the opposite of what you put, I almost want to be like, "Fuck you, dude."
I
Like
love
what?
that strategy, bro.
Oh man, I fucking it's just so
The computer's already like registered all the numbers that I've put in there, so that way when they're trying to like rig the game for us to lose, the last second drop that one chip down.
Oh man, I wish there was an algorithm to it all.
There would be if there wasn't for the greens.
Oh man, that was something that was a little frustrating. You see, so there's the European style of roulette, and then there's the regular style. Regular has zero and double zero, but
Right.
European adds on another green. It's not even a zero. It's just like a third green number, and it'll usually just say the name of the casino, like the Sands number, or like yeah, in Venetian it's the Sands. And I watched all the roulette tables. They had one European table and three of the regular tables that had two greens. And then now all of the tables on their casino floor have three greens. And I'm like, people don't realize like that's a whole extra odd for the
Oh, that's
casino.
a game changer.
Yeah, that's big, man. Like I would never play at that table. I would walk up to that table and be like, why would I give you an extra green?
Yeah, because there's 36 regular numbers, 1 to 36, right?
Yeah,
And
1 to 36.
yeah, so then it's like, okay, you have a 1 out of 38 chance or a 1 out of 39 chance.
Now
Well, if,
1 out of 39 is huge. And it
that's
still only pays 35 to 1, no matter what.
yeah, that's how they're getting you.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
you're not getting paid that. So like, and now that like affects the odd or even or the 50. Now instead of being like 48%, it's down to like 46%,
Mhm.
and then you're still. I mean, with at least with that, you're getting paid your full, you know,
Best
match.
strategy. If you find yourself down at one of those Detroit casinos, try this strategy for roulette next time. I saw a dude win $200 doing this, and I was so fucking impressed because he won it over the span of like an hour and a half. So he was only betting $10 at a time, but he got to drink for free for an hour and a half, and probably for the rest of the night because I ended up leaving the table. On the outside bet, there's the thirds. You know what I'm talking about, where you can
Yeah.
bet the rows up. So he was only betting the thirds. He wasn't betting the thirds like long ways where he was betting the chunks like because it's broken up into three sets of 12. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was betting the long way. And if you put $5 on each of those bets and you're betting 2/3 of the numbers on the table, that's a 66% chance to hit, may give or take because I'm not counting for the greens right now. But if you're betting 2/3 of the table, about 66% of the chance to win. That's your best odds in all of roulette.
Well, take that one step further. Um, if you lose, you just double your money.
Yeah,
So
exactly. So if he would lose, he would put down an extra chip. So if he would so the outside minimum at the table, let's for intensive purposes, I was either 10 or 5, but we'll just call it 10. So he was putting $20 each time. He'd put 10 on the first third and 10 on the third third and leave the middle one open, giving him a total of 24 numbers that will pay him because the outside pays 2 to 1.
yep.
So like every time he won, he would lose the 10 from the other one, but he would win 20 over here. So he's always up $10. So he
Yep.
literally just played the battle of attrition and just sat there, drank for free, and made money. And like to me, that was the most pragmatic way I've ever seen somebody gamble.
That is the way to do it as long as you can continue to back your bet if you lose.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the first
And
time it's 20 instead of 10, and the second time it's 40 instead of 20, and then it's 80 instead of 40.
but he never upped like that though. So his losses weren't so decimating. If he ever did, like all you'd have to he would hit 4 in a row, and if he lost the fifth one, he was still up no matter how he did it. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I
he
mean,
would
that's
just
law of
keep
attrition
doing
for sure.
$10 bets, and every once in a while you'd see him, if he's getting frisky, fucking put up the 20, but he really just did it like that. And I was like, damn, dude, disciplined gamblers. But that's like
Oh, that's 1 in a million, bro.
yeah, for sure, man. And then you meet chicks like my girlfriend who will go fucking play Keno at the bar and never touches gambling, doesn't play it like ever. And there was one day she hit two 5 spots for like $450 each.
Yeah, that's cool. I've never won more than $27 on Keno.
Keno's Keno culture is different out here though than it is back because at home when you play Keno, it's like fill out the card and then you watch the TV and like you make the bet per card, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Keno out here is all played on the machine where you have all of the sets of numbers and you highlight the numbers you want to play and then you just keep hitting play bet over and over and you could bet like $1 a card and you just literally just keep betting over and over. So it's faster. It's Keno accelerated, and you're not playing with the whole group of people on the TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. That's the shit that gets dangerous with Keno out
It's
here.
like essentially like a slot machine.
Absolutely.
Oh no, see,
Keno. And the best
I've
part
never
is that
won money on a slot machine.
you can quarter bet Keno at the bar, and they'll comp your drinks. So you put 20 in, you're paying a quarter a card, so that's four cards for $1. So at the end of it you can hit the play button 80 times and lose every time, and most people will hit that button 80 times in an hour. So you'll get your drinks comped for an hour off of $20, and if you know how to drink, you can get your money's worth.
Yeah, it's all about tipping that waitress. That's what I was told.
Yeah, man. Like one of the oldest tricks, like for Vegas, what used to be like a lot of the casinos have changed their policy, but it used to be you just sit at the bar, put a 20 in, you can hit the button every couple minutes. You don't even really have to, and they'll comp your drinks and take care of you. And now you can't do that anymore. Most places have bet minimums, like Venetian Palazzo and I know Caesars and maybe MGM went to like $4 a minute with max bets. Like you have to be betting $4 a minute while max betting, which is insane to locals, because that's why they would go down to the strip, was to drink for free, get free parking, hang out on the strip. Everywhere charges for parking now. Everywhere charges for drinking at the bar. Doesn't matter.
I mean, that's how it is in Detroit. Like all three of those casinos, you get no free booze.
Yeah, that was wild to me when you first took me out to those casinos and we didn't get free drinks, because I thought that was just like a rule around the world, like around the casino area.
Well, the Atlantic City, they do the free drink stuff, but they call that the East Coast Vegas, and they're trying to emulate what Vegas is doing closer to the coastline.
Yeah. Vegas has lost a lot of money in gambling. There's actually like no more money in gambling in Vegas. It's like you'll hear rumors. It's all entertainment and food.
I mean, the gambling part is changing now because of the laws being passed, and being able to basically sports bet from
anywhere. What was that? Like it got federally legal, and if the federal government was like, it's cool to gamble anywhere now, right? That was the law that was passed.
They basically allowed it so that way states can make their own decisions.
Yeah. It's not a federal decision anymore; it's a state decision.
Right. So if I do so, like the FanDuel app, right? Everybody plays FanDuel, the daily fantasy.
Yeah. Well, I think it was for that reason, right? It was for the fantasy stuff.
Well, that just helps out, but like on their app itself, if you're registered to Delaware or some of these other states, you can literally sports bet. They have odds, and you can make an actual sports bet, not just like a daily fantasy lineup, like right on the app. And so like it's so easy. It's not like you got to find a bookie and then like maybe he'll pay you, maybe you won't pay him. Like no, like you upload your money, do like a secure site like FanDuel.
Yeah.
And you place your bets. You waste your money that way. Because I'll tell you what, daily fantasy, as many times as people say that you hear these guys, oh, I won. How much have you lost? When you do daily fantasy, it is a deep hole, because it's an endless amount of combinations, and you have to pick the best quarterback that day, the best defense, the best kicker, and then the combination you have remaining has to be the highest scoring combination remaining. And that's how you win a tournament. And that's just like, okay, that's the person they're showing on the commercials that won $300,000 or whatever.
Yeah, but he probably, how much did he spend? You're right, like you're saying, how much did he spend to get to that point?
But like that's one person to win that money, and that's in a tournament. It's just yeah, it could happen. You could turn $7 into $300,000, but like I wouldn't do it as a second source of income. It's got to be strictly disposable money.
I know cats out here who work just to pay for their bankroll, and they use that to bet with, and then they make good money off sports betting. But these are guys who have war rooms committed to sports betting.
I think sports betting is different than daily fantasy. They're two completely separate strategies, and the amount of information. Like if you were to go on there right now and try to set a hockey or a basketball FanDuel lineup, you probably would be so confused, and you would just pick LeBron James and whoever else that you can remember.
I like that Steph Curry fella.
Right. I mean, but like knowing their salaries and how to like get them to have the best lineup out of these 10 slots, and it's just football is easier because you're like, oh, I know quarterbacks and I know this, but like you have to pick the best one to win the tournaments. And I know there's different ways to play it, but
I've never even messed with that. I try
It's
to stay
really
away from betting, man. Like it's so in my blood. I want to bet.
one
I
day I
like
would like
gambling
to
too
have.
much, man. I like gambling way too much.
I want a war room. I want the 5 TVs and the chalkboard.
And you just
And
sit there and you watch baseball. Baseball is where you make your money, man. Do a
I know
couple.
I can't do baseball, but baseball there's some strategies with baseball where basically the idea is during baseball season you make your bankroll,
Yeah, absolutely.
and then what you bet on football leading into March Madness and the Super Bowl basically is how much you can make through baseball sets that bankroll up to your max profit margin.
Ugh. You got to be good with numbers, man. You got to be like an accountant and a statistician.
Yeah,
Statistician. How do you?
statistician,
Someone who knows stats.
statistics. Yeah, um,
Statistician. No.
it was statistician.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Hey, we are at 35 minutes. I just realized.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that was an easy 35, boys.
Yeah, we overshot our goal of 15 minutes, and we could probably ramble on for like 19 hours. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I could talk to this guy forever. So
Oh.
lots more coming in the future.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be trying to cover a broad range of topics. We're experts at nothing, but we can bullshit about anything.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, that was a good one.
Yeah, definitely. We'll figure out this exit thing here soon.
Yeah, I like Irish goodbyes. So do we just like stop recording?
I mean, until next time.
Stay classy, San Diego.
All right.
Mm. All right.